As tensions between the United States and Iran continue to rise, Pakistan has intensified its diplomatic efforts to prevent a fresh escalation that could jeopardize the fragile ceasefire between the two sides. Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi traveled to Tehran for the second time in less than a week as Islamabad attempted to revive stalled negotiations between Washington and Tehran. According to diplomatic sources, the minister carried what was described as a crucial message for the Iranian leadership, underlining the urgency of mediation efforts amid fears that the ceasefire could collapse if talks remain deadlocked. Pakistan has continued relaying messages between Tehran and Washington, but major disagreements persist over Iran's nuclear program, sanctions relief, the Strait of Hormuz, and broader regional security concerns connected to Iran's missile capabilities and allied armed forces. The latest diplomatic push comes as pressure mounts from the United States and its Middle East allies. US President Donald Trump said negotiations with Iran were now in their final stages, but warned that military strikes could resume if a deal was not reached within what he called a limited time frame. Iran responded with warnings of a confrontation extending beyond the Middle East if attacked again, while also insisting that diplomatic channels remained open to avoid renewed conflict. Diplomatic observers said Naqvi's meeting in Tehran, including talks with President Masoud Pezeshkian and senior Iranian officials, focused on preserving what he described as a narrow opening for negotiations. The back-to-back visits by Naqvi also sparked speculation that Pakistan's Chief of Defense Forces, Field Marshal Asim Munir, could soon visit Iran as well, although officials have not confirmed any such plans. Despite public displays of good relations, diplomatic sources say Pakistan's mediation efforts were becoming increasingly complicated by underlying tensions. Iranian circles were said to be viewing Pakistan through the lens of its close coordination with Gulf Arab states and Washington. Pakistan's mediation has also received cautious support from Gulf countries worried about wider instability and threats to global energy routes. Saudi Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud praised Pakistan's ongoing mediation efforts in a post on X and urged Iran to seize the opportunity to avoid escalation and respond positively to negotiations aimed at achieving lasting peace. The Saudi Foreign Minister also praised President Trump's decision to give diplomacy a chance and expressed hope that negotiations could restore security and freedom of maritime navigation in the Strait of Hormuz to conditions that existed before February 28, 2026. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan also welcomed the extension of the ceasefire during a phone call with President Trump. According to the Turkish presidency, Erdogan said he believed a reasonable solution to disputed issues remained possible. However, distrust continued to dominate US-Iran relations. President Trump warned that American forces were ready if negotiations failed. He told reporters that the United States needed 100% good answers from Iran to avoid further military action. Iran's Revolutionary Guards accused Trump of planning to restart the war and warned that any renewed aggression could trigger a regional conflict extending beyond the Middle East. President Masoud Pezeshkian said Iran had honored its commitment and explored every avenue to prevent war. In a post on X, he said, forcing Iran to surrender through coercion is nothing but an illusion, adding that diplomacy based on mutual respect was far wiser, safer, and more sustainable than war. Other Iranian officials also expressed deep mistrust towards the United States. National Security official Ibrahim Azizi said Iran was prepared for every scenario, while Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf claimed signs suggesting that the Americans were preparing for new attacks.